to avoid copyright infringement, I'm going to just use screenshots, sort of thing, through these different ways that you can use technology to cause people to have voices in their head, voice to skull. And I'll start with the Jesse Ventura one, because that was actually, when I uploaded it, it said it was copyrighted and copyright content. Anyways, I want to just show these little electrodes here. You can put them on your neck, and then you can hear it in your head. So what it is like you're not using your ears to hear it. It's hitting your auditory nerve or something and putting impulses in your nerve, kind of a thing. I think there was a Jesse Ventura one too, where he put it on his arm and he could hear it on his head, in his head. And he's, anyways, I'll show pictures here. So he has a CD player there, and he's got these electrodes attached to the CD player and playing music. And he puts it on at Jesse Ventura's neck, and he can hear it. And Jesse Ventura's like, that he could hear it from like the top of his head. It didn't sound. He was trying to figure out where the sound was coming from. It felt like it was coming from the top of his head. Yeah, they can do this kind of. That's one way they can do voice to skull. And if you have implants in you, if they have some kind of RFID chip type of thing, that could probably do the same thing, and can be probably used in conjunction with microwave type cell towers, whatever, stuff like that. They've got everything interconnected, and they're able to do this. Anyways, I'll go into more ways that you can. So one way is with electrodes put on your skin, and you can actually hear it in your head, and there's no auditory sound at all. This is another way where this guy, what's his name, Pompey something. Anyways, his last name is Pompey, I think, doctor or something. And he created this thing where you can do direct sound at one person. He's in a library, so he's directing sound at one person in the library. Nobody else can hear it, because it's like a library. That's why he does it in a library, because you can show that nobody else hears it, only one person. And so he talks to people in the library from way far away, and nobody else hears it. It's just demonstrating how it works. And what it is it uses like really small wavelength type, like that you can't hear, a higher frequency wavelength that you can hear than what people can hear, like what dogs could hear maybe, but what we can't hear. And then the air around it is because it's so small of wavelengths, you can direct it at one person, and then the air around it sort of reacts and makes it audible right around it, just in a small area around where the energy is, the high frequency sound wave is, or high frequency wave is transmitted. And so the air around it reacts and actually makes it audible, just in a really small range area. Anyways, this is another one here. Oh, I should have this big screen. Okay, so this is here he's this is the thing that he directs it at people, so you can only hit one person in the library. Here, they're putting electrodes on this lady's neck, and she says a word, and then she just thinks about saying the word, pretends to say the word, and it has the same reaction. So basically, you can uh, communicate. This is a way that they can communicate without it be like telepathy. Basically, this is telepathy, more or less, where they can communicate. It's like she could send a message to someone without actually talking, without moving her mouth. She could be sending a message to someone. So what the computer is showing is that when she speaks something, and then she thinks about saying the same word, the computer takes the same reaction, which is pretty amazing. So that shows how gang stalkers or whatever could send messages to each other without even speaking audibly. It's all electronic. It's also what the alien abductees or whatever, they're like, oh, we can communicate with these grays. But from what I understand, what they've said, whistleblowers have said, is that the gray aliens are like half computer, like they have a computer brain and a biological brain. So basically, they're like walking around computers, probably mostly. Anyways, and if we all have implants in us, or especially gang stalkers, maybe they get implants on purpose, just so that they can actually do this stuff. Anyways, so yeah, and then here's another way. This is it doesn't even make the air make an audible sound. This is just microwaves, and this guy can actually hear stuff. And he said not everybody can hear it, only some people can hear it. Depends on your hearing ability or something. But this is shooting out microwaves at him, and he can hear the sound, hear it in his head. But microwaves, you can't hear microwaves, typically. But here, this is a way that they've figured out how to make microwaves so that some people, at least, if they have certain types of hearing ability, they can pick it up. And so yeah, these are just some ways. One thing I'd like to mention is that I've noticed gang stalkers, they pretend to be God. They want this to be God. Like in Montreal, that's where I saw the UFOs and whatever. And they have a big religion. I've gone to the meetings with the Raelians. It's like this belief that we were created by the gray aliens. I mean, the gray aliens are half computer, half biological. They're just robots themselves, I think. Just clones. But this is a fairly popular religion in Quebec, and actually it's based in France. And what they want to do is make you believe that they are like the gang stuff. Okay, how do you explain this? Okay, if somebody prays for something, let's say they're like, oh, I need this and this and this, right? They're praying for it, and then the gang stalkers, of course, know that they're praying for it, right? Because they're listening to everything, and so they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll play along. We'll let this person have whatever they're praying for, right? They're playing God. Now they do this. They play with you, and then they'll do that. They'll let them, they'll answer their prayer, and then they will let them know, oh, it's just the gang stalkers answering your prayer. They're pretending to be God. This is how evil it's gotten, And they do this all the time. I started realizing they did this when I was in Montreal, and because they were so blatant with it, and yeah, it was just unreal, the thing is, they're destroying everybody's faith in gods and Buddhas with this. Like, seriously, pretend you're a gang stalker. I mean, a gang stalker knows that they're doing this for sure, and like, at least a TI doesn't, they're like, oh no, maybe it was really gods and Buddhas answering my prayer or whatever, right? But a gang stalker is just like, no, we did it. It was us. How are they supposed to believe in gods and Buddhas after that? They they've lost all the ability to have faith anymore because they're just like, oh well, it might be just a higher level of gang stalking that's doing it. If something serendipitous occurs, you know what I mean? Like, anyways, it's just crazy, and it's just pure evil. There are gods and Buddhas, and there are other ways like communicating with higher entities that are also voices in your head, but you're not crazy. So anyways, this is just ways that they can put voices in your head. And
okay, I'm gonna stop there because don't ever contact deities; those are demons. Only trust and believe in God Almighty because He's the only one that's gonna save you. I just wanted to make this video. This is how they do the voice of skulls. A couple of ways. I'm sure they have newer technologies now. So, anyways, I'm doing a digging for crystals kit. I'm thinking about all the trolls. Well, I do this. This is their skull. That's their skull. I'm just trying to have a laugh, guys. Alright, stay safe.